I'm so glad that we had this business sustainability and growth training, this strategic playbook for how to maximize things that are happening in your small business, give you some ideas of things that you may need to adjust to do better with your business and or your tourism experience. Let me say that because you could definitely kind of cross reference everything that I've been teaching to a actual tourism experience. And so the playbook that each individual that signed up for this particular series for the month of May, this business sustainability and growth series, there's a strategic playbook that's actually in the name of this series, but it's not just a name, it's actually a physical, or I should say a digital thing, right? Because I am going to be providing that actual strategic playbook, which takes away the strongest points of these four trainings and puts them together in that playbook. Now, I've given you worksheets and workbooks, toolkits along this series to help you build out some things to make them more personal to you. This playbook is going to be more of like a reference for things for you to go back and look at to say, hey, have I done this? Do I need to check this box? What do I need to make sure that I'm doing in my business to keep it sustainable and growing for a long period of time? So, with that being said, we're going to jump into our last presentation. And it's kind of bittersweet. I hate to see it go, but I love sharing helpful and new information, give you things to think about that you probably have not thought about outside of calls and webinars like these. Today's all about synergy that produces big business wins. And we're going to talk about what synergy is, how it plays into the growth of our business, how it can help sustain our business for a long period of time. So, all things synergy, right? And if we're talking about that, what does that mean for our small business or our tourism experience? So, out of this four-part series, we've built the foundation, we've connected through storytelling, and now we've created sustainable systems, or at least we're making plans to do that. The last thing we're going to talk about here is how to multiply the results of the things that I've given you in the previous sessions. How can we amplify those things through synergistic kind of like synergistic actions and things and the decisions that we're going to be making? So let's take a look at our next slide. And first, of course, I'm going to give you the things that you don't need to do. So if there's anything that I can remove from your task list, from your to-do list, from the things in your mind that you thought that you absolutely needed to do in this business, let me first do that, right? Let me remove all of the confusion and take that out. So here's some things that we don't need to do at all. And you don't need to do it at all because if we build it right and we build our business with the right people involved, then we can avoid a lot of things like this. All right, let me explain to you what I mean. There's what I call the principle of creative collaboration, right? So it means that this is our definition of synergy for today. Synergy is just when the sum is greater than all of the parts. So we could look at that and say 1 plus 1 equals 3. So what does that mean? If we think of the ingredients in a recipe coming together to create a dish or an instrument in a large orchestra, and that orchestra is working together to create a song, that's synergy. Synergy is the sum is greater than all of the working parts, right? So we understand that. So 1 plus 1 equals 3. So when we work together, we don't just get two, we get more. So we've got a magic recipe that's happening, and we've got kind of like an orchestra harmony that's kind of going on. I don't want to back up to that previous slide just a little bit. And now that we understand what synergy is, let me tell you the things that you don't need to do when you have good synergy. You can stay away from what I call the clone dilemma. So if you've ever wished that you could clone yourself and do more, anybody ever wish they had two or three of them to get things done? Yeah, right? Absolutely. So let's kind of make that feeling disappear for us when we're thinking about our business and our tourism experience. It's feeling like we need to clone ourselves to get everything done. I was literally talking to a friend of mine yesterday, And one of her comments to me was is that I feel like there's just too much to do and not enough time in the day to do it. And I was like, I agree. And then my second thought was is that we feel like sometimes we need extra hours in a day, which sometimes we just need to kind of evaluate what we're spending our time doing, what we're prioritizing. We don't necessarily need two of me. I honestly don't think the world could stand two Cynthias. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes it is like that, right? Multiplying impact. I want you to learn how to leverage your systems, your people, your partnerships to achieve more with less effort. So you aren't out here just burning the candle on both ends all the time. And that is happening to a lot of us today, especially um, especially when we are in a world that's like a what they call the microwave society. Everything has to happen right now. Things are happening around us so quickly, and we feel like we're having to move at the speed of light just to be able to keep up with normal things, right? That's not a healthy thing for us, and especially not in business. But if you learn how to leverage your systems, your people, and your partnerships, people meaning team here, not just customers, but the team that you're working with, and then partnerships that extend past those teams, then we can actually begin to do more. And that's what personally happened to me in my coaching business. When I first started coaching and getting out there, I wasn't exactly sure, how to shape things, how to shape my packages and prices, and how to shape my deliverables. Well, first I had to figure out how to package my product, right? How do I deliver this finished product to someone? And then once I figured that out, then I started trying to work out, okay, what systems can I put in place to help make this run smoothly? And then how can I leverage that to produce more? What people can I bring in to help me make that happen? And then finally, who can I kind of link arms with here in partnership outside of my business to help me expand and achieve more? So multiplying impact, right? That's what we want to do. We don't want to condense our impact. We're going to stay away from that. And so the last thing we don't want to do is scale in chaos, which is pretty much an impossible thing to do anyway. We want sustainable scaling over a long period of time. So that means we can increase the amount of our output. We can also increase the amount of customers, and we're able to take on demand comfortably, and we can handle all of the operational activities that go along with it. That's true scaling. True scaling is you being able to do all of these things simultaneously. So discover a framework for growth that doesn't depend solely on your time and energy. That's something that will not be able to thrive and withstand. So just make sure that you aren't fully relying on yourself. All right, so we're going to go a couple of slides ahead, and we're going to jump into the first topic for today, which is building your dream team, right? And your dream team, I mean, is going to consist of systems, tech, and people. It's those three things. And it literally is like almost those three things. Whatever you are getting to put the right people on your team, in your business, or for your experience, it's going to land in one of these three categories. It's going to be either with systems, tech, or people. Now, why does this even matter? Building a team to help you in your business matters because poor systems cause burnout. That's it. Poor systems don't cause poor effort. Poor systems will burn you out, right? Because you're still going to be putting in 200%. Those of you who are working hard and you got a vision, you want to see it build and you want to see it become something magnificent, right? So it doesn't mean you aren't giving it effort. Poor systems doesn't mean that you're not failing and you're not giving it all you've got. A poor system is just going to eat away at you over time. It's going to eat away at your operations over time. So again, that's that not being able to scale in chaos. So you have to do these three things in operation. You need clarity, you need automation, and you need smart delegation. These are the three things that you need to build an amazing team. You, as a business owner, you've got to have a really clear vision and expectations. Then you've got to be able to streamline your processes You can't streamline them if you don't have good systems that work. So remember, it's got to be good in order for you to move it forward. But if you're going to be lean, then you got to streamline it to make sure that it's happening and you can do it with your eyes closed eventually. That's what we want to get to in that stage. And last thing you got to do is learn how to offload things that are causing you issues. And so those are the delegation pieces. Smart distribution of tasks is the best definition that I could give you for delegation. Delegation is not just handing something off because it's causing you a lot of issues and it's challenging you. True dedication is you distributing. It's a smart distribution of tasks to other places where it can even be happening more efficiently without you being directly involved in it. That's how you build a dream team to help you build your business. Now, I always like to reference myself or some examples to give you some reality to go along with it, right? So if you were going to take this back and apply it, what does clarity look like in my coaching business? It looks like a clear mission and vision and objectives. It looks like me understanding what I'm going after, what I'm trying to achieve in my business. Streamline processes is how I help my clients. So whether we're on webinars, whether we're doing one-on-one coaching sessions, or you're watching videos, or you're signing up for services online, each one of those processes has to have its own pathway for a potential client to follow or a potential customer to make it easy for them. If not, they're going to get lost in the sauce and they won't care anything about the finished project or product because they're going to be so kind of bogged down in I can't even get to the answer that I'm looking for. I saw in the beginning that it's here. I have no idea where to look for it. I don't know how to get to it. So that automation for me is important and it's important for your small business too. The delegation piece of it, that smart distribution of tasks, you can use AI for it to automate your emails. And we've talked about this in some other sessions before. You can use AI on your website to answer frequently asked questions, or either go ahead and list frequently asked questions on your website. So smart distribution, another thing that you could do as far as tasks is outsource those to someone who could help you take care of it. Or if you've got someone on your team you feel like has time to handle something or do it better than you can, but it definitely needs to be done, then we want to offload that onto some platform or to some person who can help make that better for us. So if we look at the next slide, I always give you things that most people overlook when they're thinking about things like this. So here are some smart actions that you can take that most people overlook or have not even tried. And when I'm coaching, I love to highlight things like this because it brings forth like an innovation. And hopefully this is going to help open your mind up to some things that you can try. So even if you aren't concretely using these step by step, at least these can open up a world of possibility for you that maybe you hadn't even thought about before. So what happens? Here's some things that people overlook when they're trying to build out the right team, right? When you're trying to find the right people or the right platforms to get done the things that you need to get done in your business or with your experience, think about the top 3 things that you do most repeatedly. What are the 3 most repetitive things that you do from day to day? Identify those and eliminate any of those things that are draining all of your time. It's a routine, it's comfortable, it feels good, I know, and it may even be kind of challenging because it's going to create some change there. And some of us are very resistant to change. I think all of us have some kind of resistance to change. Some of us have a hesitancy, and some of us have a resistance. I'll say it like that. But think about the top 3 things that you most repeatedly do. Identify them because they are things that are probably the most time draining. And they probably, I'm pretty sure 90% of the time, they don't require you to have immediately hands on experience or touch to make sure it gets done. So do that first. Next thing you can do is systematize what's going on in your business before you add people to it. So again, remember now synergy means 1 + 1 = 3. And the sum of all of us working together is going to be greater than me just trying to do it alone. So if I were going to bring folks on along with me, whether it's team or in partnership, I have to have my processes documented before I begin to delegate or hand things off to anyone. Or else you're going to have a lot of confused people standing around in a circle looking at each other asking questions, right? So if we're talking about synergy, partnerships and making things work together in the business, you got to make sure it's working before you start bringing people on board with you. And you have to document what's working. So it's not just good enough for you to have it in your mind and in your head. The contingency here is, how are other people going to know what's happening in my head that makes this whole machine work if I don't have that documented somewhere? And if you're like me, and you're a busy entrepreneur and you're like, I got to get this done, I got to get this done, I don't have time to sit down and write out processes, you better make time to do it. If you don't, you will soon regret it, because when your business does start even the least bit of expansion, you won't have a benchmark to go back to look at and say, I started here and now I'm growing into this and this is where I need to go next. So systematize it before you start attaching and linking arms with folks. Third thing that you can do that most people don't think about is identify what you need first. What are going to be your key roles? What positions are going to create the most impact? Now, for me in my business, those positions were accounting and a virtual assistant. So for my coaching business, I needed someone watching over my money closely because there's a lot of operational activity. And then I needed someone helping me keep up with daily tasks. So not really completing the task, but keeping up with them and knowing what was going on in the business. Those were the most important and key roles that I needed for my business. But think about, what are the key roles that you need in your business or with your tourism experience? Which ones are going to create the most impact? Those are the ones that you need to prioritize and feel first, because they're usually going to directly hit your bottom line, right? And they're going to directly impact your revenue generation. All right. Use tech as a team member. Not only is ChatGPT good for helping you fill in the blanks for things to say and helping you understand, helping you build out, what did I do? I did meal planning on ChatGPT the other day for a certain type of diet for my family. It's not just good for meal planning and bringing out all the ingredients and doing this stuff and finding exercise regimens, but AI can actually be a team member for you, and software can handle a lot of those repetitive tasks that we're trying to do. So don't be afraid to bring on tech as a team member. Just have to figure out what kind of software is right for you and what you're doing. And sometimes that team member looks like our website, right? Because it's showcasing, our website is what I like to call our Vanna White. Is showcasing what's happening in our business. You know, we don't have to go back and tell it what to do. We just have to make sure that we have everything loaded and say, here's what I want people to see. And your website shows it off. So your website is actually a team member. Your social media pages are team members for you. And we can look at it that way. So use tech as a team member. The fifth thing in smart action that I like to tell people to do when it comes to actually building out a great team is design an org chart. Any of us who have been hired to jobs within the last 20 years have probably seen organization charts, right? On these regular 9 to 5s. If you're a small business owner, kudos to you if you've built one of these out already. But it's important for you to do this. Plan out your team structure before you actually need it, right? You can sit down and you can sketch out what's actually happening now. You as the CEO, what's happening? How is your accounting being handled? How are your operational tasks being handled? How are your customer communications being handled? How is it when you're away from your business and you're going to take vacation? What's happening in that area? How is that managed? Is there a system managing that? Are you managing that? Or is another person over those activities? And if your organization is not running, if your small business is not running like you want it to right now, then draw out the chart that is optimal for you. And I want you to start planning on, this is where I need people in place, right? And this is where I need people in place before it starts happening, or at least let me have this plan written down before it starts happening. So those are the 5 areas that you can reflect on when you're trying to build a team out, because not many people's minds drift to things like this, but these are some of the most important things on the inside that I can tell you as a long-term business owner myself. These were some of the areas where I noticed that I was not giving much attention, but when it came down to the decision making and what was happening, this is where my focus needed to be. So that's why I'm giving you this, because I've seen it happen with several small business owners now. All right. And I thank everybody else who has come in. Feel free. And don't forget to share. If you have any businesses that we can support or anything, please share them in the comments and make sure that you drop your links to your pages. I would love to see them. But that's going to bring us now to some reflection on what we talked about with building a team. So if we look at the next slide, just to give you a reflection point, here's what I want you to do about visualizing your business flow and making these things work, right? With a team, bringing in synergy, bringing in teams of people. Right now, we do have AI actually replacing a lot of jobs. I don't know if y'all have seen recently about Duolingo actually replacing a percentage of their employees with AI. Is happening all over the place with all different kinds of jobs. So utilize it. Don't let it actually take over everything that you're doing. A human touch is still needed somewhere because business is always human enterprise. So, as much as I say incorporate systems, I don't want you to rely on systems so heavily that you lose your authenticity. And here's how you avoid that. You still have to have vision as a business owner. So, let's visualize your business flow. And there are four things here that I want you to reflect on before we start going into the second point. We're still closing out on good teams and starting about and talking about building good teams and building synergy for your business, right? The sum of all is greater than the sum of what would average just be for one person. So map out your current state. Document how you're actually doing things right now. What is your flow? And a lot of this comes from lean training that I took years ago and just gleaned from that. And as I've morphed it for my business throughout the years, here's what it looks like for a small business. Map out where you are right now in your current state and document, write down how things are actually going, right? How are things going right now? Map it out. What's actually happening? And then envision the ideal state. So we're going to now draw another diagram and it's going to design how you want things to happen. How do you want things to work in the business? And hopefully there's not a huge difference between the things of how things are currently happening versus how you envision them to be happening when you've got peak flow and everything's going great, right? But you want to map out those two because, of course, you've got to sit down and then you've got to analyze the gaps. Where are the gaps between what's happening now and what I want to see happen in my business or with my experience? Identify what needs to change. So we align those. You can literally look at one on the top, one on the bottom, and say, hey, okay, here's a gap here, here, and here between where I am and where I want to be. And then the last thing you got to do is make it work. You've got to bridge the gaps and implement the changes that you need with, and the caveat here is with strategic improvements. So I had a pastor one time that said, you can't go into a church that you aren't familiar with and move the piano from one side of the stage to another in one day. You got to move the piano 1 inch at a time, right? So, in other words, eat this elephant one bite at a time. Don't try to swallow it whole. Implementing changes can be really, really challenging because remember, I told you some of us are change resistant and others some of us others are just change hesitant, right? We don't like it and we kind of hesitate on it, but we'll move on it. But some people are actually resistant and they don't want to move at all. So gauge yourself. If you're one of these people who have a hesitancy, you can probably adopt things faster and move faster with a team. But if you're someone who's change resistant, watch yourself that you don't get burned out when you start to implement these changes. Do it one bridge at a time, right? We're building bridges from where we are to where we want to be. The premise behind this is that you can't keep it in your head. You cannot keep all of these things in your head. You need a visual of how things are flowing in your business, and you need to get help analyzing them. So step outside of your comfort zone and make sure you are inviting someone in. And the Uplift team is amazing at this, at helping you do strategic planning. But this is going to be a great starting point for you. If you map out where you are, then map out where you want to be, analyze those gaps, and then figure out how to strategically implement those changes. And there's a big cross between analyzing gaps and implementing changes. That's where you need someone to come in and help you with that expertise to say, okay, I see where your picture is, I see where you want to go. Now let's figure out how to get you there. So bring you in an expert there. All right, you guys, next slide is pretty much a little bit of Q&A here. And just to answer any questions or hear any feedback if anybody has any, I sure do appreciate everybody coming on for this last call today. Y'all are awesome. I'm sad that it's the last call. Boo for that. Yeah, but I'm glad that y'all are here. That's why I was celebrating. Okay, so what does your dream team look like? Hopefully, it will end up looking like administrative support, creative talent, and sales and marketing. So, who will handle your operations and keep things running smoothly? And then, who will bring your vision to life visually and creatively? And then who will help you reach new clients and close deals? This is a very powerful slide that if you have something, maybe you're definitely going to get a copy of it. But I don't want you to forget this. I want you to get this one, get the slide down in your bones a little bit, and take a second to just realize where the most of your support is going to come from a dream team, and how these roles can transform your business, right? Anybody have any questions about building out their dream team? And does anybody here feel like they're close to building a dream team? Or I should ask like this, do you have anybody on your team as as a small business owner besides yourself? And when I say team, I don't just mean someone that you're hiring that's an employee. Are you seeking help from outside sources or support from outside sources from someone like Uplift, from a team like Uplift, or from a business coach? Or do you have a business partner? If you do have someone that you're leaning on as a team member for your business, drop a yes in the comments or drop a no. Let me see. Where are you at? Yes or no? Have you started building out your dream team for your business? Have you got somebody there with you in the thick of it, of this thing, even if they aren't in the thick of it yet? All right, I'm seeing one answer. How about everybody else? Any administrative support, any creative talent, or any sales and marketing help? I want to help you get there and achieve that. I want to help you make sure that you have somebody that's going to help you handle operations and keep it running smoothly, that you have somebody that you can lean on to help you bring your vision to life, and that you would also have someone available to help you reach new clients and close new deals. So those things are important. As small business owners, new entrepreneurs, we do so much of this ourselves. Don't be afraid to reach out. Yeah, I see a no and then I see a yes. Yeah, a spouse definitely does let's see, does much of the ag track to work, construction. My tax person can answer my questions. Yes, like those are team members. Those are powerful team members. Thank you both for sharing. I really appreciate that because you can see we're all from different dynamics, right? So I hope that this is going to help you understand some of the things that you can do to move forward in building a great team. All right, so second part here, and strong alliances. It's going to be on our next slide that we're going to start. Strong and strategic alliances. So, what do we mean by strategic alliance? Now, I was watching a TikTok not too long ago, and I saw someone on a video that said networking isn't just about what we can get out of each other, right? And I agreed with that because networking a lot of times is not just trying to figure out what's in it for me. It's not. But I'm not actually talking about networking here. So, networking is just one way that you could build an alliance, right? If I'm talking about strategic alliances, I'm talking about kind of like a level up from there. And it's understanding, what do I need? Who do I need to connect with to help my business thrive and to help my business grow in certain areas where I want to see it grow? Who do I need to connect with to make that happen? And then you can find that out by doing some networking or by going out in the community, by sending emails, by joining Facebook groups, however it is. But if we're just talking about on a higher level, thinking about how we can form these strategic alliances and what they do for our businesses, that's where I want to go. So this isn't just a casual conversation about let's go shake hands, let's do a business after hours, go meet a couple of people and just go show ourselves for some community support, some other things. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about strategic alliances for your business growth, your business sustainability, right? Collaboration. This is why it matters. Collaboration creates shortcuts for you. When you can collab, you create shortcuts for yourself in the lines of visibility, credibility, and reach. Because the who you know and who you attach yourself to and who talks about your business in a room where you aren't there, that matters. And that's strategy, right? That's real strategy. The right partnerships, and this is what I've learned, is the right partnerships can get you 6 months ahead, right? Can get you 6 months ahead in 6 weeks, short period of time, because you were able to connect strategically with the right people, the right businesses, the right things. Smart strategies here. So, enhanced visibility means you reach new audiences more quickly. When your credibility is boosted because of certain alliances, you get to leverage those trusted relationships and you get to take advantage of things that you probably wouldn't have had access to on your own. So instead of 1 + 1 = 2, I'm leveling up and we're going 1 + 1 = 3 here because we're working on a strategic alliance. So while I'm talking about these things, I want you to be thinking about for yourself, who could you strategically align with in your business to reach new heights? Who would that person be for you, right? Or what business would that be for you? What organization would that be for you where you could leverage a trusted relationship like that? And dig deep on here. Think about people that you've met. Think about people that you haven't even met. And don't be afraid to dream too big here, right? I want you to think big because credibility and visibility go a long way, especially for a small business. Even if you're connecting with other small businesses, there is a way to do it, right? There's a way to do it. So accelerated growth is the next thing here. That's gaining that 6 months in just 6 weeks. So collaboration creates these shortcuts for you. And the right partnership is going to dramatically accelerate your business growth. So this is stepping a little bit further away from the sustainability piece, and we're talking growth right here, right? These three things don't necessarily create sustainability, but they ignite growth for you like you wouldn't believe, and they create growth potential for you. And if we're doing both of these things on this path, we've got to create a balance for both. So we got sustainability in one hand, and we've got growth on the other. Strategic alliances are a heavy, heavy contribution to the growth piece of your small business, right? So let's take a look at the next slide. And again, I got all of the smart things, or try to give you all of the smart things that happen when you have smart collaboration strategies. And these are 4 things that folks don't typically think about. And I will probably throw in a fifth for you. So, smart collaboration strategies here. Partner with audience sharers. So, seek out people who share your audience, but not your product. They're complementary businesses to you and they create win-win scenarios for you, right? So partner with audience sharers and seek out people who don't share your product, but they share the same audience with you. And then the next thing I want you to think about is building what I call collaboration capital, right? Collab capital means you support others first. So instead of what is it that they can do for you, think about what you can do for them first. Create goodwill before even asking for that partnership. Give before you receive is really what that premise is. So, how are you building up your collaboration capital? What are you doing there to help you secure that collab, that big dream that you have of somebody that you want to partner with, work with? Create signature partnership offers. We do have to think about what's in it for them more than we do what's in it for us. Now, we know that we have a reason because we're trying to accomplish something here. The strategic alliance is for a reason, and we have somewhere that we're trying to get, or we have somewhere that we're trying to figure out what's how do we move to the next level. Give you an example of that so you guys won't get lost in the sauce with me doing all this talking today. Realistic situation. So I am into government contracting, and I had been working on securing a lot of my government certifications over the past year, which I now have. But government contracting is the next piece after I achieve those certifications. So I had to bridge the gap between, now that I'm certified, how do I actually secure the contracts? Well, you secure the contracts by having someone who's going to be a mediator to teach you how to get it done. So in the common space there, in that space for myself, I attached myself to an Apex Center, which is an accelerator program that helps people understand government contracting and get picked up, get procurement, get picked up for government contracts, secure those contracts. So I got hooked up with an Apex Accelerator person. And that individual, that representative, took me from the space of certifications to bidding on contracts and beginning to win and secure contracts and create products that fulfill government needs and things like that. So, but I had to create partnership offers, and I had to figure out what collateral was I bringing to the table. So, develop specific and valuable collaborations type proposals. Make it easy for the partners to say yes, is what I mean. So anytime you're going to be asking anyone for anything in business, you want to make it easy for them to say yes. In essence, like that's the number one thing. Make it easy for a person to say yes to you. An example too, I'm gonna go back to partnering with audience sharers just to give you some examples where you don't share the product but you share your audience. Think about a photographer, a makeup artist or coach, a web designer, travel guide, food blogger, right? Those people have the same audiences that they're usually gleaning from, even though they don't sell the same things. So a photographer would do great to team up with a makeup artist, right? Or a photographer would do good to link up with a web designer if they wanted to help build websites and have realistic photos. A travel guide would do great to link up with a food blogger. And think about these things if you have a small business or tourism experience. If you are working on building up your collaboration capital, what I want you to think about there is reaching out to about 3 to 5 people just to complement their work, not to ask them to purchase, not to ask them to partner, just to complement their work. If you don't even compliment, go online to their pages and share several of them or share a few comments on there for you, right? And if you have somebody that's doing your social media marketing, that's even better. You can have them and say, "Hey, I'm really looking at collabing with these couple of folks. I want you to go on their pages, support their pages, share their material. Let's give some insightful comments on what's going on and watch and see how a door opens up because people are watching things like that. We love when we get support for our small businesses and we notice it when somebody's supporting us. So make sure that you're doing that. That's a great example. And creating a partnership offer, if we're doing something signature for a partner, an example of that would be bundling your product with somebody else's like bonus offer. You could do joint webinars with people. You can do an affiliate program together. So there's so many things that you can do. Think about in that sense with partnership offers, how can I create something that's going to be a win-win-win situation for all of us, for me, you, and our customer base, right? And the last thing I have for you here is to apply what I call the CRED rule, CRED. Partner with those who add credibility, reach, engagement, and deliverables to your business. So not only are these strategic alliances going to be good because they help you discover new customer bases, but they also help you improve what's happening in your business. And that's some heavy strategy that's happening along with that. So let's take a look at the next slide here. And let me show you what you can do for a 30-day collaboration challenge. So this gets kind of fun because you get to take your time with this, right? This is good. If we did a 30-day collab challenge, what does that look like for you? First, you would identify and name at least one person that you love to collab with. And remember, it has to be strategic alliance here. Identify one person or business that you love to collab with. Do some research, learn about them, learn about their goals, their audience. And this doesn't take long, right? You can literally sit down for a short period of time just to find out so much about one business or one person. And it's easy to do these days with as much information at our fingertips. But learn about these people or these businesses, learn about the current projects that they're working on, right? What are they currently promoting in their business? And then engage with them, support their content, and help build a genuine connection first. Because if this strategic alliance works, then we got to remember that business is somewhat human enterprise and money is money, but people are people. And a lot of things that we do are emotionally driven and we're doing things that are a result of how we're hardwired over a long period of time. So what I'm saying is get to know a person. Even a business has a person behind it. Get to know them when you're in the engagement phase, right? And don't try to sell partnerships so fast. Give it a minute and take a breather. And then after you've been able to do those things, then you make a proposal and you reach out with specific and valuable collaboration ideas, right? No fluff. Get to the point after a while. I think we can really help each other if we did one, two, three on this platform or in this series of emails. What are your thoughts? Do you think that there's a way that we could help each other build our businesses and support one another further than we are by just sharing content online and leaving great comments? Then you grow into that. So think about that over the next 30 days, and that is a month for you to think about it, because this is not a very light task to take on. If you've had people already asking to collab with you, consider yourself really doing really well, because a lot of people are starting to identify you and saying, "Hey, I want to work with you. Can we do this together? Can we work together?" And that means you're doing something right. So you may already be getting some attention on that front. And if you're not, don't feel like you're lagging. Maybe you're the one that needs to initiate. And that's what this is here to teach you, right? All right. So let's take a look at our next slide. And it's going to be a synergy scorecard. I like for you to keep score somewhat, because I love for you to keep up with how you're doing. And of course, what the goal is for where you want to go, how we're going to analyze that and fill those gaps and move forward. So, what roles do you need? Do you need someone tech? Do you need someone admin, creative, or in sales? Think about that again. We're keeping score with what's happening here with every step that we take. This is important for our analytics, right? For our overall business analytics. What can you automate? What repetitive tasks are there? Scheduling, follow-ups, all of these things are to lighten your load as a business owner and to help you pull back on all of these small manual efforts that we're doing, so you can do more higher level things like finding those alliances and connecting with the right people. Who could you partner with? You've got some strong partnerships already. Are there any other complementary businesses, industry leaders that you could work with? Don't overwhelm yourself in this area. Alliances are great. Many alliances are great, but only take on those that you feel like you can handle. Never overwhelm yourself, right? So who could you partner with that's actually going to be complementary and be a symbiotic relationship, and not just one that's totally draining and one-sided, right? A complementary business or industry leader for you to work with. And then what's your synergy plan? What type of connections, partnerships, and collaborations are going to create wins for you? What areas does that happen? And I was listening to Mpetu talk, and it almost seems like her connections were organic, right? Like it just happened. She was in conversation, she was somewhere, and it fit. And it sounds like they actually proposed it to her. So some of those things will naturally arise when you're authentic in your business and you're showing up. Some of those things will have to be initiated by you, and that's okay. Just know that you need to have an idea now of how can I, for at least for those of you on this call who are already in these types of relationships, how can I amplify or give energy to these synergistic relationships, right? What am I contributing to them? Where can I find more of them? Because it feels good, right? It feels good. I'm pretty sure Hyacinth feels pretty amazing when she says, "I partner with Goodwill." Oh my God. Like, and the way Mpetu talked about her connection from someone else from another farm that was not too far from them that's now sharing information with them, and how Casey is going. I want to see Stanley County going viral with these influencers, and how good does that feel to say that, right? So I want you to think about what your synergy plan is, writing out your growth through meaningful connections, right? And how you're going to align those partnerships and those collaborative wins. So that's what your synergy scorecard looks like, is understanding the roles that you need in your business, what can be automated, who you can partner with, and a synergy plan for moving forward with those strategic alliances. All right, next slide. And we're getting ready to start finishing up here, you ladies. Start to say guys, but I remember we've got all ladies today. But I will say guys for it too, for anybody else who's going to be watching the replay. All right. So I have got 5 steps for you here, right? And if we're talking about synergy plans, I'm talking about growing your business through the meaningful connections, aligned partnerships, and collaborative wins. So these last steps are what I'm going to give you. And there are 5 steps, but each step, of course, contains some things that are a little more intricate. Now, these intricacies are going to be coming to you in the form of a 90-day synergy plan that's going to be sent to you 3 ladies, or you can have access to it. I'd say that they're going to be downloadable, just like the other 2 resources that I've given you. This is going to be downloadable for you later in a lot more digestible format and usable format for you. But step 1 is going to be for you to define your synergy goals. And this is a synergy plan. We're thinking about your visibility. How do you want to increase your brand awareness and recognition? Where do you want to be seen? Do you want to cross those generational gaps like Stacy and Stanley County is doing, where they're using an influencer who's reaching all types of generations of people on different platforms? So, what type of brand awareness do you want, right? And what type of recognition do you want? Credibility, building trust and authority in your field. How much more trust and authority do you need? Do you need to be known as the authority in that field or with that brand? Do you want to be known on that level? What level do you want to be known on with your credibility? New audiences, reaching potential clients in untapped markets. That's the key, right? Untapped markets. There's still such a thing as an untapped market. I know information is flowing everywhere to a lot of people at the same time, but not everybody's focused on the things that you may be presenting. Where is your untapped potential? Where's your untapped market? I need you to be thinking about that. It's really strong, because that's where we need to shift our focus, right? That's where we need to be putting a little bit more of our energy, is in that segmentation of the market that we have not really touched yet, that would be great customers for us, or great people to come have our experience. Don't forget your money. We talked about smart money last time. So revenue, generate new income streams with it. These alliances bring on different forms of income streams. With my alliance with who I'm working with as far as government contracting, it's not like my usual coaching income stream. It opens up another income stream through government contracts. So partnerships and alliances open up new streams of you to make money. Influence and impact is definitely something that we've got to have. Creating meaningful change in your community, in your industry, making an impact. So that's the first thing you've got to do, is define those synergy goals through around these 5 things, and what kind of growth do you want from that. So you're going to check off all of those boxes for your business. Next slide is going to be number 2. Second thing that you got to do is identify now those collaboration opportunities. Who has shared values? What partners are out there that are going to align with your mission but serve a different niche? So who has shared values that you could tap into with the things that your business believes, with your vision and mission? Complementary services. Think about businesses that enhance your offerings without competing, without being direct competition to you. So who complements you, right? Not who's in direct competition, but who complements what I do. Um, for myself, there are for business coaches like me, some attorneys are actually complementary to me. Some business attorneys. Some business attorneys actually offer some of the same services that I do as a startup coach with helping you start the business, do the paperwork. But then there are some attorneys that are business attorneys that just advise on certain practices, and they're a little bit more into the legal intricacies where I'm not. We're dealing with the same population, right? We've got the same people that we're touching, the same niche, but we're not directly competing with each other. So think about who complements you. The third thing you're doing when you're identifying any collaboration opportunities is and making sure, again, you've got a similar audience. Same people, just different product. And then the fourth thing is co-creation potential. So people who could create content or events with you. Those are the people that you want in your circle. All right, let's go to the third step. Third step here in your synergy plan on the next slide is creating a signature collaboration idea. So let's see. Next slide for me, Taylor, if you will, please. If it's going, there we go. Create a signature collaboration idea. You could do things like go live together on social media, co-host a discussion. I do this a lot with people, and it's opened up many, many doors for me to get in front of other people's audiences. Even those who've spoken a different language for me. I've been on podcasts where it's been for a Latin community, it's been for I once did a live with a gentleman who had a cleaning business that he'd started in Africa, in a country in Africa. And we collabed because he felt like some of the folks in his audience were wanting to actually come to the US to start cleaning businesses here. And so our collaboration was he was giving them all the facts about how to start the cleaning business in general. And then I talked about how to legally start the business in the States. So then you have your cleaning business, but here's how you do it here. When you're going to be moving here and gaining citizenship here, here's how it happens. So do joint, you can go jointly, live on any platform, or you can be invited to a panel discussion face to face. All of those things are very powerful. Trending topics in the industry are great. Co-branded products, definitely. There's been content that I've shared with people online before where we've shared both of our brands together, and we've been able to share it with each other's audiences, created workshops, and guys that combined our expertise. I've got a workshop coming up in a couple of weeks, and I've invited a financial coach to come and speak to the folks who attend that workshop. So co-brand those things because she's going on the marketing materials for that workshop. All right. Mini challenge or summit. Organize days for small events, right? You can host these or you can seek out some of these where you can be invited to. You feel like you'd be an asset with some other experts. But choose one of these ideas of going live together or in person, going to a summit or something like that, being a panelist, or sharing a co-branded product. Choose an idea, maybe one of these, or a different idea that you may have one if you're thinking outside of the box, and pitch to potential collaboration partners. So once you've got the idea, don't just stop there, right? I want you to act on it. So that's step 3. And next slide is going to be step 4, which is take action. Of course, we got to move forward. Genuine connection, message someone, message that person, message that entity that you haven't worked with yet. If you're already working with someone and you haven't shown gratitude yet, send a message, send an email, send a nice card, something to say, I appreciate our partnership. You are golden when you do that. You are golden because people are not shown gratitude very often for anything that they're doing. And think about it. How many times are you shown gratitude in a week for something that you're doing on a regular basis to maybe help somebody? Gratitude is something that isn't shown a lot. And so when people receive it, they don't soon forget it. So lock in that gratitude. Thoughtful support. Share that work that they're doing. The fact that you all are talking about these collaborations on this call, I know about them. And guess what? The next time I'm teaching, I'm going to be talking you guys up. I'm going to be talking up your businesses, ladies, to all of these other workshops that I teach across the state and across the US and going, hey, I know a lady named Ampetu, and she's working with this person, and they're doing this in North Carolina. And I've heard from Casey in Stanley County, and Stanley County's doing this, and Hyacinth and her team, and Tammy's doing this. So your message carries on even when you come into arenas like these where we're having these discussions. Direct invitation, send a voice note or something personal again as a proposal to collaborate or just to show that gratitude. But if you're new to these sessions and you're watching this for the first time, or whether this is one in the series that you're watching, the ladies that have been on this call have connections established. If you do not, I want you to commit to making one connection move this week, within the next week of you watching this training. Commit to making your next move over the next 90 days. I'll give you 90 days to do it. I'll give you 3 months, because finding the right connection is not easy all the time. And remember, just don't chase clout, right? This is not just to be seen, but we want to chase connection. We want to build connection, not clout, but connection. That's what we want. Fifth step that I'll give you, and the final one here in your synergy plan, is set your synergy win date. So after you've done the planning, the outreach, the development, and the launch, then we're feeling good about how we've moved. But let's set a date for these, because when we set deadlines, we make things real, right? They become not just dynamic to us, but they become static, right? So here it is. You want to set a date, set a timeline for yourself to do the planning, to do the outreach, to work on developing that relationship, and then to actually launch or make the proposal or make something happen. So set dates for it. And that's how this thing works. So that's all of the 5 steps that I have for you in building the synergy plan. But again, building the synergy plan goes along with how you can actually keep score on what's happening with the relationships in your business, how to build them, and how to continue to develop them over time. So our next slide is going to bring us just to some Q&A and some key takeaways here. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, or we'll definitely go live again. We'll not go live again, but I'd say we'll open the floor to some Q&A if you want to come off mute, is what I mean. But the takeaways from today, just remember to create systems that create freedom for you. A well-designed process is always going to liberate you from daily operations, even when it takes you time to build that out. And it may not be the most exciting thing ever, and I got to sit down and I got to do this and I got to write it. I got to think it through. It's okay. It's an investment, right? We talked about reinvesting things back in the business also with these equations we've been looking at throughout this series. So design great systems, because great systems create freedom for you. And then remember that people multiply your results, the right people. So the right team is only going to amplify your impact, but they will amplify exponentially when you get the right connections. And partnerships build legacy. So the last major takeaway that I have for you, those strategic alliances, they create lasting relationships and lasting impact on not just your business, but the partner as well. So my challenge to you is to definitely take at least one action this week toward or related to those collaborations for you, and share a big win. Share a big win, something that you've experienced from this series that helped bring you to that point. Share it with those individuals, share it outside of just these spaces, right? When you're on social media, make sure you share how you've grown from this series, from the things that you've done in your business, because it will definitely help somebody else. Definitely help somebody else. All right. Any questions? Thank you, ladies. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes.
Miss
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Taylor and Hester, for being so amazing with these presentations, and everybody's who's been able to participate and watch the Business Sustainability and Growth series, especially for the people who physically made it into well, not physically, who virtually made it into the rooms live for these trainings. And those of you who are watching the real play, please make sure to still ask any questions on this video anytime you see it. The Uplift team and myself will be happy to answer and give you any takeaways and share our experience to help your business be sustainable and reach high levels of potential and growth throughout the life of your business. So, last slide is just some wrap ups here, or at least the last one or two, I think. Yeah, this series, the first one we started with foundations and growth hacks, where we talked about the building blocks and strategies that spark success in your business. The second week, we talked about stories, sales, and smart tech. Using those tools and techniques to click, connect, and convert your customers to paying and customers that are returning. The third in the series was Smart Money and Business, where we talked about financial strategies that thrive in any economy. And finally, our session that wrapped up today was Synergy for Big Wins, where we talked about collaboration approaches that multiply results. So, our last slide today is just to say thank you for participating in this series. We want you to please share this with other small business owners who could benefit from these strategies. Feel free to go back and rewatch yourself or replay. It's definitely on Uplift's YouTube channel, and I've added it to the playlist on my YouTube channel. Reach out to Uplift if you're in North Carolina. They are a great partner for assistance with your business or your tourism experience. If you're not in NC, then still reach out to me, Cynthia Ellis, and I'm very happy to help you. But I appreciate you all, and thank you so much for watching and participating. And you guys take care of yourselves. Bye.